Hey everyone, thanks for joining us tonight on Sharky Waters Wednesday Night Dive, where we dive in with a shark. Tonight, I am your host and your guest. Well, at least for now.
Check your solution.
Oh, hold on.
Green on top.
Green.
Oh yeah.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Sharky Waters Wednesday Night Dive, Mercury Retrograde Edition. I am your host, Dom, and I am also your guest for the open swim. Tonight with me is Eric the Clock Doctor, our director, keeping us in line and on time. We also have Tor Bjorn, the producer, back here. Joe Fish is in the house back there taking photographs. And Tom Heavey for the last trip here before he goes back up to the Arctics to bring your gas goods to you. You guys know the drill. If you've watched the show, we're going to do a 30-minute interview period.
I'm here.
Where we do some drills, we do a little bit of practicing. Eric's gonna flip the timer to signify our 30 minutes of open swim time. And then after that, we've got a special guest, mystery guest, coming in to do the shark attack against me, which is a race to 7 in 9-ball. Before we do that, big shout out to our sponsors, Harold Prine at Prine Custom Cues, PrineCustomCues.com, custom carbon fiber shafts with different diameters, different lengths, different tapers. And then he's also got some pretty handy custom butt work too. Also shout out to Tipsy Tomato, where we go after the show, big sponsor to the show. Secret news to anybody who's watching the show, they are rumors that they're gonna have a 6x12 foot snooker table getting pieced together there. So under the radar, unless you're a Sharky Waters fan, but you know, that leak is now out there. I'll take credit for that one. And then, also, Clean Slate Pool Tables. That's me. 15 years of doing pool tables. 12 of those are here in the Pacific Northwest area for you guys. The loving community has put food on my table and cameras and lights in my living room. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about Clean Slate. And
yeah, well,
thanks. Sharky Waters dream that you've built up.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, let's do this drill. And if you guys want to reach out to us about sponsorships or anything, we do get some messages about that. Please reach out through sharkywaterspool@gmail.com. And there's a donation button for anybody who wants to help contribute our promotions out into the future. Hit that button, hit the share button, hit the like buttons. And if you got any questions yourselves for me, we're gonna be diving into the ins and outs of pool table mechanics and the ins and outs of the pool tables themselves. So if you got a pool table at home, then you got any questions about that, you got any concerns about that, go ahead and type those into the comment threads and then we'll get those translated over to you and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Okay, so I'm looking at this thing.
Tell me about this drill.
Well, we were gonna have Joey Gugliani on the show. Tor and I went and got tattoos from this guy earlier today. And
you can see this bad boy right there. Let's show it to the
Wham.
camera. Shark tooth.
Got that to help me with my alignment and my form there. And
keep it right up.
Yeah, and funny, so we got the quote of the week. It says, no performance is ours.
Permanence.
No permanence is ours. We are a wave that flows to fit whatever form it finds. And that's said by Herman Hesse, the author of Siddhartha.
Not Steppenwolf.
Not
as
Steppenwolf.
I accidentally said earlier.
But that is actually not from Siddhartha itself. It's from another book of his.
Yeah.
But it is still like very Buddhist-y in a sense. But like we're going with the flow today, big time.
Goes along with adapting.
We have like several weeks planned out on the guests for the show. You know that, you're the director. I don't have to tell you anything, but telling the people.
Yeah.
And so it's really unusual when you get somebody who cancels, but you know, there's a goddamn on the precipice of pandemic out there. And so when someone finds themselves ill, we like encourage them to stay home and rest. Yeah. And get a speedy recovery. So Joey, with all the love in the world, and thanks for the fucking permanent ink and the permanence on the back of the hand to help me keep in mind my alignment in my elbow.
Yeah, I'm coming in soon to get my tat.
Yes, we're Sharky Diem is gonna get down on your rib cage.
No way.
That's a subtle shout out to Cassandra Bryant, our normal pro Shark Attack commentator who's not here with us this evening. I'm sure she'll be watching, but we miss you and also hope you feel better and get a lot of rest to recover. So Joey plays on my Tuesday team, and I was playing with him last night. He's a pretty low-rated player, and he hits the ball real hard. And so if you're watching Joey, I put this drill in mind to try and get you to slow down on
that was my
on the ball
biggest
speed.
problem when I was getting into the game was I'd have decent lines, but I'd hit them so hard to try to make it in there. And I can't remember exactly who it was, but someone gave me a lot of tips on that and saying, like, only as soft as you need to hit it to make the shot that you want to make.
Yeah, there's a Willie Mosconi quote where he said there's 2 ways to shoot a ball, soft and softer.
Nice.
And so you go ahead.
Okay, how does this work?
No numerical order. Just try and make them all without touching a rail.
Make them all without the cue ball touching a rail?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And the trick is to just shoot them real soft, you know.
Start with the
Soft
trouble one
and
in the center.
try and stay
Actually, I'm going to
precise.
start with this guy.
I spent an unusual amount of time over my weekend, I'll tell you guys, playing pool with a former guest on the show for the Christmas episode. And super elite player, Sean, and he was giving me like a lot of instructions. We were going over some YouTube videos that were put on. It's a clinic
Am I
that
allowed
was.
to hit another ball? I gotta not touch anything else?
Let's see you not even touch the other ball first before you start adding amendments.
Right.
So there's this video that he shared with me. It's Mike Wilson, and he's a pool instructor / former Mosconi Cup pool player, and it's him instructing on stance, and like a orthodox stance. A lot of like the line of aim. Go ahead, try it a couple times while I
go over it. Out of there?
Yeah. And so it talks about the line of aim that you're shooting, and then imagining that line of aim on the ground. And the way this instruction goes is he's got some tape on the ground, and he's like, imagine this is like very expensive tape. I don't want you standing on it or anything. And so, you know, and then at one point he asked somebody from the audience to come out, and he gets him to shoot a shot, and the shot is lined up, and there's a spot on the table and where the object ball is, and there's a spot on the table where the cue ball is. And it's all set up to aim along this line that's on the tape on the ground. And so he's videoing him. And this is like the secret hack for anybody who's like really paying attention and wants to like get better at your game. There are a bunch of different apps that you can get from the App Store that are golf swing correction apps.
Like
and
the
what it is,
ones?
Yeah, what it is it analyzes you film yourself doing the motion, and then you can draw lines on little areas that you want to remain parallel or you want to remain straight, and then you can play that footage and see how you're getting out of line with that stuff. And so he's showing you the app that he uses, and he's showing you how he does that, and he's like taking a photo of the guy shooting, and then he's trying to take a photo of the guy shooting straight at him. He's like, okay, now get ready. And he asked the crowd, like, let me ask you guys something. Is he standing on my tape? And like his foot just barely was, you know, but the whole idea is that you're aiming with your feet, you know, and that where your feet are is where your shoulders are and all of that alignment. And then if you uniform the practice of your follow through going, you know, from your back arm to your chest muscle, and that's where I'm thinking my shark tattoo is going to be kind of like helping me keep that alignment in.
It's almost like the old robot dance, right? You keep that perfect up, and then you have that pendulum.
You got it. You got it. You're doing pretty good here on this one,
I missed
huh?
the 7, though.
Oh, okay.
I just kept going.
All right, let's set it all up. Now you're way off.
Yeah.
Let me give it a try.
Yeah, show me, is there like a good way to go through that?
Practice is the way to go.
Well,
I'm sure there's an order that would make it.
Like I was trying to start in the middle kind of and get the trouble ones out, but then you just keep getting further and further away from the from the cross.
Yeah, I think.
Missing one.
I think I'm gonna try and start here and follow to the 3 ball. Thinking about the 3 ball. Because if I can stop, I'm pretty good on it there. And then I can go to the 8. Try and think a couple shots ahead, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, that's
drift
always
a little bit on the 3.
Where you want to be. And so you don't want to stand on your line of aim, right? You want to have it's just on the inside of your foot there.
It's not a 45, but like.
And this is all, you know, it's a comfort thing. But if you're trying to get better, you're going to have to work through some discomfort.
Oh, yeah.
There's an element of like resisting what feels normal so that you can implement a new program and a new programming through your mind. And that will feel uncomfortable through a series of motions and a series of repetitions, but as those repetitions continue, it will then become the new comfort level.
Well, that's with any growth, right? You can't get comfortable until you're uncomfortable.
Right.
Growth.
Right. Growth is actually
first.
Growth is actually a big part of the conversation that I was gonna have today with Joey, because he's got, and one of the questions that he had to delete when we found out he couldn't make it last second was, how do you pronounce unalome? And if anybody out there who's watching knows how to pronounce unalome, it's like the squiggly line of a Buddhist journey through enlightenment. It's like squiggly at the bottom and it swirls, and then it kind of zigzags on these like little infinite signs, and then it goes straight, and then it has a little dot of death, and a lot of times it's depicted with a lotus on top of it.
Okay.
And it represents like all the changes that you go through in life.
And you sort of narrow it down as you're going?
Yeah. And it kind of cleans up, and then the last little section of it is like nirvana.
Yeah.
Joey's got that tattooed on his face.
Yeah.
And so amongst how do you pronounce that word, I was also gonna ask him, like, how do you go to the grocery store with a tattoo on your face? You know, it's gotta be some...
That's a big commitment. That's
and to think about how I can feel people watching me when I'm playing on the pool table and stuff, and to think about how that must reflect people's reflection of you and their reflection of you when you're walking around. And, you know, I've seen some YouTube videos where like people break down and cry because they like painted tattoos on their face and tried to go ask for help outside and like got shunned, you know. But I was, you know,
it's all about just loving exactly who you are and who you want to be, right?
There's some like amazing confidence and power that comes with being able to sport a face tattoo, I think. You know, and being comfortable in your own skin, I would imagine. Yeah. I obviously don't have the confidence to do that.
No, all my tattoos, when I got them when I was young, teenager. 18th birthday, and actually my first one was on my 15th birthday. Thanks, Mom. Forgot where I was going with that.
First tattoo, 18th birthday?
15th birthday.
15th birthday.
Yeah.
Way to go, Mom.
Yeah, thanks, Mom, for that.
Yeah, I gotta say, that you just sharked the heck out of me on that one, because where I come from, and that's the Bible Belt of Texas. Let me see that thing. We call that questionable parenting, you know, but I've like...
She was going through her own stuff.
Oh, no, well, no, I'm not here to judge. Believe me, I moved out of that Bible Belt as fast as I was able to.
But I was saying that I got all of any tattoo that I have, I got it like that I could cover it up with a shorts and a shirt kind of thing. It's like, my mom was like, yeah, you can get a tattoo in this guy's house somewhere. He has a tattoo gun. But get it somewhere where you can cover it up with a shirt easily in case you need to go to an interview.
Nice, good thinking.
Yeah.
I'm pretty countercultural in that sense. I work for myself. I have tried to work for the man, but I'm
not for me.
Self-employed, and I have people help me like yourself. And Matt Wells, big shout out to Matt.
Yeah.
That guy's sleeved out with some pretty amazing tattoos, actually.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of tattoos. Dom, you said something. I was thinking about this while you guys were talking. You mentioned that you're self-employed. I think... Well, obviously, Tom Heavey's in the house, in the audience, and so he's the exception to this. But all four of us are, like, self-employed. We work for ourselves. Right?
Yeah.
Joe Fish in the room, a.k.a. Brain Made Digital. He's, like, literally doing a job right now, taking some photos for us while we're doing this. That's, that's what he does. Goes around with his camera. You, Dom, obviously are working on installing and refurbishing and selling pool tables. Eric, you're the clock doctor because you literally are the doctor for actual clocks.
Real mechanical clocks. Yeah.
Handyman servicing, are we plugging that
services,
yet?
Yeah. I'm working on building up those flyers and those clientele and stuff, and marketing, and then also teaching after-school programs. Works for kids. It's like Lego programs with kindergarten through 5th grade.
Stay tuned for our Lego pool table.
Yes, we're gonna get that happening.
All right, your turn.
So here's what I want to know, Dom. When I have a friend that's self-employed, and we've talked a little bit about this outside of the show, but when I have a friend that's self-employed, the first thing that I want to know is like, what do you know about your job and the things that you work with that nobody else knows? Especially for you, you work with pool tables, man. So you must know like what goes wrong with people's tables. What's the most common thing that like people's like that's going wrong with their tables that prevents them from like succeeding and improving their game. Like you must, and the access you have to like all the different pool tables. You've played on damn near all of them now, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like what goes wrong with people's pool tables the most at home?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean, what goes wrong with them
Or like,
is
what do they need help with?
the natural wear and tear of tables is that the rubber gets old. If you can imagine the rubber inside of those cushions is like an old rubber tire in the backyard. It literally oxidizes, gets hard and brittle through time.
Okay,
Totally.
yeah.
Like,
And, I mean, but there's weird little subtle nuances of brands of rubber that actually go to the other side of the scale of poor performance, where it gets like too gummy and weird. And that's like, I'm not a chemist or someone who makes gum rubber for a living, but you can tell that there's something there that's happening in the longevity of the viscosity of the chemical balance of what's happening in there, and it gets all soft and weird.
yeah.
That stuff's got to be addressed. Hey, our special guest, secret
Just
guest,
Bergman in the house.
coming in the house.
Welcome.
Mr. Bergman.
The big
where's
box
the suit?
that says free on it. You're all good, brother.
I know Jesse's got a table. Actually, speaking of Jesse coming in the house, he's got a table that they, some manufacturers, they make the tables with specific angles on the rubber cushions that have to be accounted for with a particular type of profile of rubber. And those things all evolve through time. So sometimes there's like extreme scenarios like Jesse's where that, what's called the subrail, the wood that the rubber is attached to, that angle actually has to be changed in order to reinstall a proper, more evolved profile of rubber onto them.
Okay. And that obviously affects like anytime the ball comes in contact with the rail.
You got it.
you're
Bank
gonna be
shots. Anytime the ball comes in contact with the rail, it's going to come off with a little bit of action that's not necessarily intended by design.
Totally.
That will affect the game. We call those gives a shits. There's like micro gives a shits, nano gives a shits.
Yeah, what is it really going to affect?
A gives a shit, for say the designer's sense is what color, and you can go from gray to charcoal to titanium, which has a hint of blue in it.
Yeah, well, you work with,
can you pass me that sheet?
you've got to deal with Simonis cloth, right?
Well, we don't have a deal with them. They're pretty huge in that sense, and
Can
we're
we
like
put
real
this up?
small time. Yeah, you can. Well, Tor's got a print of
I
it
think
too.
I've got-
Well, I
I
was
think we
thinking
can pull it
people
up
can
on
see
the
what it looks like
actual
on camera.
screen.
Above?
Yeah.
But okay, so not a deal, but like you've got access to their products.
Correct.
You know how to install them the proper way.
Correct.
It's
correct.
like I mean, I've heard you talking about it and stuff. It's like super high end cloth, right? It's
yeah,
like what
the
pros
technical
buy
term
on.
for it in the textile industry is called
Okay.
worsted. It's like a tactic of how they loom wool together. And so what's happening is you have a 90% wool and a 10% nylon ratio that's getting loomed into one piece of string, and then those strings get woven in and out together, kind of like it's simplifying it, but kind of like a little kid's placemat at kindergarten with
Sure.
construction paper, where those are more over, under. If you were to pull one single thread of Simonis cloth off and look at it real closely, you'll see it kind of looks like an old school telephone cord. It's got like a spiral to it, and they
Like
interlock that way.
DNA in there.
Yeah, and
Oh, I
so
see.
on a real close scale, if you were to zoom in, you'd see these columns right next to each other that look like wraps of phone cord next to each other, where that's the highest brand of felt that is commonly known. There's other brands that are worsted, and there's other brands that compete with Simonis, but they're like the 5,000-pound gorilla of the heavyweight category in that realm.
Yeah.
But there's a whole arraignment of what, for lack of a better word, would be a standard felt. And that ratio is 25% wool and 75% not, or 75% wool and 25% nylon. And that woven is completely different. The wool is woven together like a placemat, and the nylon comes through and it's little twisted pieces together at all of the junctions. And so it gets
Really?
real fuzzy. That's
Yeah.
the cloth that no matter how many times you brush it, it gets real lint, a lot of lint balls fuzz up through time. And you can even see the ball settle into weird places, because if you were to zoom in your microscope and like join me in your little microcosm world, it would be more like the surface of the moon than those predictable columns that
Totally. And
Simonis
so
has.
at that point, on your like what you're calling gives a shit level, like you trying to execute something and the surroundings being able to support you executing it, you're playing in time that standard felt. You're playing on something that's just literally making you play worse. That's what I'm hearing,
Totally.
right?
There's even like an element of a skill level, and this is a very abstract thought, but say you're at a skill level of a 1 or a 2 in a league, or you got a couple hundred points in Fargo. that your skill level may stop you and hinder you from being able to see the subtle nuances in the way the ball would change and how the ball would be consistent with an upgraded felt.
Yeah.
In some kind of ways, you can climb and maximize your skill level to a point that in order to get further past that maximum production of action on the ball or production of skill, you'd have to upgrade your felt. And people don't know that they're at that maximum point a lot of the time because they're in their own little echo chamber of growth, because they're at home doing their drills and wearing out their tables the same way, practicing with their same group of friends. And then so what happens a lot of the time is people spring the extra money for the premium felt, which is Simonis, and then they come to find out that they actually play better pool than they even thought they were playing because
better conditions.
Better conditions lend to better performance.
Okay, so I'm hearing like rubber is a thing that, the rails are a thing that people's tables need help with. The felt is definitely a thing that tables need help with. And I remember hanging out with you on a job one time out in southeast Tacoma on your lunch break, and you had like a bunch of tools and were leveling a table.
Yeah. This table actually needs some re-leveling. It's got the issues of us climbing on it. A lot of people don't have that issue, but if you do have people climbing up and are putting lights up, some people install the table and then install their lighting above it, and so they have to climb above it for whatever reason. Some people party and dance on their tables. Some people have other, extracurricular activities on the table.
I was just gonna say
that make them unlevel, but the fact is that the floor set. We're on the second floor here. A lot of people can't tell from the footage on the show, but we're on the second floor, and depending on how the structure of your the overall structure of the place is beamed with studs and stuff. It can settle a little bit. It's also on carpet. That can be an issue through time. But also these things are like primarily made of wood and stone. They're a couple hundred years old. We've been playing pool and they haven't really evolved a whole lot since then. But cool little Seattle fact, if you go up to the Space Needle, it tells you how tall it is. And then it also tells you that it grows like 6 or 7 inches depending on how hot or cold the day is, and that it's architecturally
from the material expanding.
Yeah, from the material, and that it's architecturally designed for that expansion.
Crazy.
And
like bridges are for wind or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And these things are literally living, breathing things. When it gets hot and cold, they're like swelling and tightening up. And the techniques that are held at it that put them together, those haven't really evolved a whole lot in the couple hundreds of years. And so there's just little nuances that need to be addressed and maintained, and got to fix on that stuff, because if you're really playing high level pool, again, at the high gives a shit's level, that you're going to be shooting some shots with such fine finesse that you have to trust the table. Now, there's also an element of like understanding how tables play and understanding what choices of shots are available to shoot on that type of table condition and stuff. There's some shots that you may not be able to shoot, and there may be shots that you may not want to shoot because you'll have to trust the table, and you don't know if you do trust the table or not. That stuff is all in the category of gives a shits, of how many gives a shits, how good do you play? And Simonis, the conversation between standard and premium felt, there's even standard and premium rubber cushions that you can put in there. Artemis is a brand that's high end. It's from Germany and Belgium. Yeah. It's from Belgium. And there's a couple different companies that have their own specialized rubber that you can get. But all those little nuances, and down to the Simonis felt one, it's like literally and metaphorically down to like splitting hairs, and that's like what this game is about. It's a game of millimeters. It's a game of precision.
Use a specialty rubber for some of your pocket.
Yeah, it's like the old refinery rubber.
Inside of so some of the other weird nuances of this table is that shout out to Paul Purdy. He did some work himself, and he's not a mechanic, a self-admitted not mechanic. But he works at the refinery up in Oak Harbor, and he put some rubber that they use to stop the broilers from vibrating or something, I think is what he said on there. And so we've got some, weird, unorthodox to normal billiards rubber conditions, but it's only in certain spots, so you got to know where it is and where it ain't. Yeah, totally. Well, there's
Mystery.
another big part of this, and you can see if you got a real close up in here, and if you ever come into the set, you can feel in there that there's actually multiple layers of that rubber in there. And so what some people do in order to tighten the pockets when you get a refelt, there's a rubber, what we call the face and the fin of the table. That there's the rubber that's in there, it's a little bit more dense than the rubber that is the rubber cushion where the ball bounces out from. And so what that does is it helps mute that energy of the ball as it comes in, and then it kind of can die there and then fall inward.
So it helps it fall in place.
Right.
Helps it slow down.
But there's there's a balance to that where if you put in one more face of that harder rubber, you will tighten up the pocket. If you put in one over here, you'll tighten it up, but you're also increasing the density of that rebound response. And so what you'll find is people have tables that shoot, and when it hits this back wall, it hits sooner because it's in there, and then it rattles and it just sits right there.
Yeah.
And so you get a lot of missed shots with the ball just sitting right there.
Yeah.
One of the services that I'm offering through Clean Slate Pool Tables that no other pool table mechanics are offering, just because it's super time consuming and it's labor intensive. And there's a lot of people out there trying to get their pool table work done. And it's a friendly community. I'd go ahead and take the second to say, Rich Geiler's work is amazing. I'm trying to get him on the show. We have a lot of people who ask me when I'm gonna get him on. He's one of the top players in the world. And our top pool table mechanic in our area. I'm also breathing down his neck to try and apprentice under him about some of the little nuances that he's got under his years of doing pool tables. Golden West Games, my former employers, those guys do great work. You can't argue with them. They do any of the weird, you literally can't argue with them. You could try, but I wouldn't recommend it. Those guys, they do good work, and they got a lot of, they're good at what they do. They, if you want darts or tips and all that stuff, you can go into their store and you can get your hands on it.
They also have some fun board games and stuff. They always have those interesting new board games.
I'm a regular customer there. My son still goes in there all the time. Corner Pocket Billiards, a big shout out to them. Chase is somebody who started doing the business back when I started doing the business here, and he's just had nothing but successful growth from that. And then there's ABC Billiards. Nobody really likes those guys, but a little shout out as we include them all. There's no reason not to them, but we all kind of play fair, and those guys are the ones that don't necessarily like to stick with those rules. Point is, none of those guys are offering the reducing the pockets opportunity without just adding extra faces. Everybody just wants to add extra faces in there, and what we're doing now is we're pulling off those faces, pulling off the rubber cushion, and we're adding on a piece of wood that's like a pulper hardwood.
Okay.
And it's basically extending the length of the rail altogether.
Really?
And then putting a new piece of rubber on there, and that new piece of rubber is now longer from both sides, and then putting one single face on there so that now whenever the ball comes in, it still has a tighter pocket, but whenever it rebounds out, it will actually rebound and come back out into the play of the table. We'll start seeing a lot of misses come in, hit here, and then come out this way.
So it plays the way that it's supposed to play, but it's still tighter.
You got it. It doesn't leave the sitting ducks on the table.
Yes.
And so when people say they want their table to play like a diamond, there's some real subtle gives a shits that are in that conversation that a lot of people's skill levels don't include the availability to perceive. But they know that, and they still want that product because they want to be able to move their game up to the level where they can perceive that.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're offering that you guys can get done. We're also going to be starting a new promo that's going to be called Flexible Fridays. It's promoting yoga and flexible pricing. So if you guys can hit us with how flexible you are, we'll hit you guys back with how flexible.
So give us your best yoga pose, and we'll give you our best
I don't know. The real rubber to the road is that I want to give people better deals than what's the traditional market, because I understand that the market prices aren't necessarily set for everybody. And being part of the Sharky Waters family and all-inclusiveness being part of our intentions on what we're doing, that it makes sense for me to be able to get everybody playing pool to the level that they want to play at, and get their tables to the speed that they want to be at while they can.
That cost is one of the reasons that keeps pool away from kids too, is the parents aren't into pool. The kids want to be, but pool can be expensive if you let it.
Yeah. A pool table is an expensive cost. it's a big buy-in, you know, to get that money up front and to get your kids playing. Otherwise, you can commit to the time and energy of taking them to the pool room. And we have a couple good pool rooms in our area that do let your kids go in there before the late hours.
Yeah.
But that's a time commitment too, you know,
exactly.
of driving and fuel. And, you know, if you can get a table at home, there's a lot of advantages to be able to get a table at home. So I also like buy and sell tables. And so I'm not trying to like rip anybody off or anything. It's more about just trying to ease the what's out there to sort through. Because on any given moment on OfferUp, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace, you can find
So many.
easily 200 pool tables, you know, and so out of those 200, maybe 60 of those are going to be some real good deals that are beneficial in the caliber of like it would behoove you to buy those instead of buying from myself or Golden West Games or Corner Pocket Billiards, these other establishments, Rich Geiler, that are also selling used pool tables. It's comfortable for us to be able to promote everybody and each other because there's only 5 of us and there's like 20 million people from Cedro Woolley to Vancouver, Portland area, you know, and so that's a lot of people and a lot of people playing pool. And there's just plenty for all of us to do the work out there together. And sometimes we get jobs where stuff is way up north and it's like, you know, it just doesn't fit the cost. And so we just call the other companies and say, hey, here's a guy who needs some work done. And that's always really helpful. So it's nice to be in a industry that is truly trying to help get the work done for the people. We hear we hear you. You know, we hear you when you say you need your tables done, and we hear you when you say you want to get them playing better, and we hear you when you say that this bar and that bar has them bad. Send them my number, send them someone's number, and let's get the tables up to speed. Because despite what a lot of people believe about pool, you know, a lot of people want to think that pool is dying, but it's like continually growing. The BCA is growing every year. The APA is growing every year. The past several years. Yeah. We in the Pacific Northwest area have one of the largest regional BCA events in the country. I think it is the largest in the country. And so
we want to stay indoors and play something throughout the winter.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in our neck of the woods to be doing that. So a lot of people buying pool tables.
We were just talking today about making one.
Yeah.
Maybe out of Legos.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of ideas on making them out of several different ones. In
Kinds of,
in the evolution of my career, I'd like to get into making custom tables, but that would all get pushed through after I polish up all of the stuff that I'm like, no, that I can do well. And
I'm curious to everybody out there. I don't know where we are on the camera, but to know what would be your like #1 choice of things that we might make a pool table out of. Something really unique. Bring us some good ideas and let's see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, hear what the crowdsource wants. Yeah, for sure.
I love constructing things and building things like that, especially out of wood, but out of anything really.
So going back to the buying and selling tables, there's out of the couple hundred, there's 60 or so out there that would be good deals, and then out of those 60, there's like maybe 10 that are so good that. Joe Fish, thank you for coming.
Appreciate you. Have a good rest of your game.
Brain Made Digital Media.
Brain Made.
Bye, everyone.
So out of those 200, 60 of them are good deals. Out of those 60, 10 of them are such good deals that you're going to have to race me,
multiple people.
Golden West Games, Rich Geiler, and ABC Billiards and Corner Pocket Billiards to the cheese. Because that's what we do for a living. And I don't know what you guys do for a living on the other side of the camera there. But in the morning when you wake up and you put your shoes on and you have your coffee and you start your car and you drive to go do whatever you do, I'm already at home hitting the websites and hitting the Craigslist and the OfferUp. Right, and so it's real hard to beat us with those real good deals. So, but that doesn't mean that there's not still 60 tables out there that are still a better deal And shopping wise,
Well, I think people would prefer to not have to deal with all that, go
exactly,
through all
and
that trouble,
that's
not
what
know
we're
if
actually.
their
That's
person
the
is
actual.
trustworthy.
That's the actual service that
Yeah.
we're bringing to the table. Is we
you're-
do the sorting through the 200 for you.
And you're moving it for them, basically. You're picking
Right.
it up from whoever and
Right.
moving it to their house when they're
Because
ready.
any of the tables you're going to get with Clean Slate Pool Tables is going to come delivered and installed with whatever color felt you want. You can upgrade to the Simonis, which is highly recommended.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get a full set of balls, full set of pool cues to play with, 4 of them, a triangle, a diamond for 8-ball and 9-ball, brush to clean the table with, a wall rack to hold all of the cues, a bridge cue,
What?
a
This
brush
is
to felt the table.
quite a package deal we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, you know,
That's a good deal.
yeah, but wait, there's more. You know,
But wait.
no, that's actually about it. But it is it is like a high, you know, it is a like white glove installation service. I've been doing pool tables for 16 years, 15 or so. And then 12 of those in this area. I started off doing them in Hawaii, super high-end homes, and so we're really used to doing all of that, and that's kind of our specialty environment, putting in blankets down on high-end floors before we set the toolboxes down.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
you know, these are real high caliber tables that we're working with, so hit us up, look me up. Thanks for all the help and the support, everybody.
Yeah,
Like,
I've worked on a few tables with you and done a few jobs, and I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool, and you always meet some cool new people around town, too.
yeah, it's fascinating. My
Yeah.
brother was here earlier who's done a lot of work with me too. And while we're wrapping up, I was just talking about the weird stuff of pool tables. We were kind of piecing together and unpacking this story of there was a woman who once called Clean Slate Pool Tables, what once was at the time Clean Slate Billiards, and she said that she was shopping for her client for a pool table, and that they had found the pool table and they needed it disassembled and moved into storage to be stored for an undetermined amount of time.
Yeah.
And so just the way that the conversation was pieced together and stuff, I like kind of assumed that it was like some pretty high-end clientele or whatever, and assumed it was going to be a pretty high-end table, booked the deal, went and got the table, and it was like a piece of junk. And so we're like, wow, that was weird, man. Stored this table for 2.5 years at like $2 a day.
So is that an example
And
of someone having
Went
money
way
for a
over
table
the,
but not
I mean, the
realize-
storage alone went way over the value of this table. And then when we go to put the table together, we drive all the way up to Freeland. Like way up Oak Harbor, you know, the
Yeah, that's
corner
no joke.
pocket of the United States of America. And we get to this huge, beautiful, go down the hill and shoreline estate. And there's this house, and we get to the house, and there's people in, you know, construction workers and a lot of activity going on, and we find whoever's in charge, and we're like, we're here with the pool table, and they're like, oh, well, you're at the wrong house. You have to go to the house down the hill. So we go down to the pool house, which is where the pool table goes, and we're in there, and it's really.
Wait, is there a pool also?
You get all of it, yeah, all of that
okay,
down
okay.
there, and separate from this giant
Yeah.
house. And so we're down there, and it's us installing the pool table, doing finish work, and these guys installing decorations on the walls. It's all nautical themed, like maritime stuff, anchors, pulleys, what are called blocks in actual sailing terms. We've got Tom Heavey in the house back here, so he can understand and vouch for like the expensiveness
Yeah.
of these hardwares. These are not
Just from the
normal,
decoration.
whatever. Yeah, these
Yeah.
are like bought at West Marine and looked like high-end sailing outfit stuff that was just like to pull the blinds up, and you know
It's like
what I
an
mean?
American Pickers status.
Completely over the top. And so me with my sailing background, I like realized that these guys are like sailboat rigging artists doing interior design work.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey man, what gives, man? Who are we working for? And so it comes out that we're working for Richard Burton, the guy who started Expedia and Zillow.
Really?
Yeah, former Microsoft executive from up here in the Pacific Northwest. And like and so me and Austin, like, we tripped out on that day. We're like, wow, man, that's what it's like, you know, top 10 richest people in the world. That's what that money's like or whatever. You know, it's like this
It's a better pool
this
table.
game lends you exposure to some pretty fantastic
Yeah.
estates and stuff like that, you know, and I'm doing them in Hawaii and stuff. I've done some pretty fantastic ones too, but this one was like a big one to me, and Austin spent that whole drive home kind of tripping out about it. Even to the
kidding.
point where today, talking to him, he was like, remember that one or whatever, you know, and I was
Right.
like, yeah. Well, we're almost out of time.
Oh, yeah.
But I was just gonna say, we were just talking about it, remembering today and thinking that we were wondering, because we were like, why would that guy spend so much money on that table or whatever?
On that table.
And maybe it was like Grandpa's table. You know?
I was gonna say,
you can
it's probably
imagine. You know, we're
sentimental.
talking like super billionaire person. You know, you
Yeah.
can imagine being somebody who, you know, imagine a phone call looks like this. Hello, Mr. Oakland. I understand you bought a pool table from a gentleman in 1997. Do you still own that pool table? Yeah, I still do. I'm interested in buying that pool table. Would you name your price on it or whatever? And then, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, who knows? But that's like going
He's
to.
been in storage since he was a kid and played his first shots on it.
Who knows? But there's like a reason why somebody who could purchase and buy anything would buy that particular thing. You know, the same way
quite
a
a
lot of people don't understand, and I'll never understand that. I'll never understand why.
Yeah.
But the same way with that vision of gives a shits and the vision of perspective. Some people never understand why we charge so much money for the services that we do and why people even pay that stuff. I think that's the number one shocking thing to most people.
Clockmaker, man.
Is that
I
I
totally
even,
understand that.
is that I even exist. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That there's a pool table guy out
Yeah.
there. And so very traditional in the business sense that my biggest issue is all of our pool table mechanics' issue is trying to get ourselves to you, the customers. You know, it's very classic in that sense. And so this whole platform is meant to lift that up, not just Clean Slate, but Golden West Games and Budget
the whole
Billiards.
pool.
Yeah, the whole pool community. We want to try and help create a tide that rises all of the boats. That starts with the viewership. So anybody who's still watching and listening to us gab about all of these nano gives a shits, thanks for the help. And if there were any questions, we'll get to those. But otherwise, we got a crew match coming up.
Yeah, me and Tor.
You guys get after it, and then I'm going to take a break with our guest shooter.
All right.
Short break, and when we return,
Thanks so much for
me
coming, brother.
versus Eric
are you,
Sharky
man?
Waters.
I'm doing great.
Wednesday night
always.
dive.
I mean, you know.
Oh yeah.
Time is irrelevant. It's merely a regulator. One that can't be adjusted like the sounds of my voice. It's pretty fantastic stuff Tor does back here, getting us all dialed in. It's going over the equipment. That's dusting off dust from the Playa 2018. Thanks, man. And then tonight we've got Eric and Tor. I think this is Tor's first week back in a while. And then joining me in the commentator booth is Jesse Bergman.
Put that switch up, Jesse, on the mic before you talk.
How's everybody doing out there tonight?
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna flip this, and you're gonna kick it.
Let's mess with some buttons, Jesse. Let's see what we got.
Somebody's
here.
gonna lose an eye watch.
Watch wham.
Oh no, that was pretty good.
You can see them going back and forth over the old Crown and VIP coin. Let me have that over there here, please. You can see there Tom Heavey in the background of the audience. We just hung that shelf that he's sitting right next to. It's got 6 holes that hold pint glasses that are ready to be filled with our new beer sponsor. Soon to be filled with our new beer sponsor. Tom's running on low tide is what we call in his industry back there. Well, meanwhile, Eric's running out. Jesse, you been playing much?
Not quite. But, you know, I've been starting to step it up again a little bit more over the last couple weeks. More so than just, you know, my 1 day a week I was sticking to there for a few months.
You say this stuff every time you beat me.
Is that why you're... I was thinking about that on the way over here. I was thinking of how sharks hunt. And if a technique hasn't been working for the last couple of times, maybe the shark could try a sneak attack.
Yeah.
I feel like that may have been the ploy
Yeah.
for this evening.
No planning, off the cuff. There's a lot to be said about 200 million years of evolution as a predator and all the tricks that you might acquire up one's sleeve through said evolution.
Oh, for sure. I watch Shark Week
Yeah.
every year, man.
Shark Week every week here on Sharky Waters. Honestly, I was a little bit hesitant. We had a couple different people in mind and a couple different offers out there. And I had a bad week last week, and I did some real work trying to clean up my stroke and stuff, and I'm hoping to play it better. But if you're going to lean in, right? You know, and you're a tough competitor, and it's always hard to play you. So I'm excited about trying to play with you and see if I can pull out a better game than I had.
We know how each other shoots. I mean, it's just a matter of who's feeling it in that moment. That's all it is. But we know, you know, I got heart, you got heart. Nobody's going to be giving anything away.
Just like these guys here, you can see Eric shooting that shot there. He's got a good line on the 6 ball. I'm not sure if it's exactly where he wanted it to be, but the 7, getting the leave on the 7 is going to be the real trick here. It's all looking pretty good. Get off the rail.
And get back to that 8 ball.
Yeah. A couple more tricks left in this show, so let's see what happens here.
Make it and
Those of
the
you guys
paint.
who are not close enough to Eric, I'll go ahead and tell you, he said, it goes in the side pocket. Fuck. See what kind of adjustments he does to not have it go in the side pocket. I'm working on being honest with myself about when the shots don't work, not to take them.
Being realistic with your expectations and your
Yeah.
percentages. That's the most important thing you can do.
Yeah. And not vindicating thoughts that are incorrect.
Right. Wanting something more than what the table is actually offering.
Oh, Jesse, but I want to beat you so bad. And when it offers it to me, I just try to go for it. And so often I should safety on that stuff, but you do. You got to play the table. A little double kiss there on Tor's end. See how Eric does cleaning this up. Get a little overhead angle. Looks pretty straightforward from this angle.
Pop under it. Come back up.
Yeah, right in the heart of the pocket. Coming down. Whether that's a comfortable distance between the object ball and the cue ball, only he could say, but he looks pretty comfortable. There it goes. Nice shooting, Eric. You can see those guys dabbing it out. Speaking of hard rivalry, they definitely have one, but nothing like him and Cassandra's. So one more slash on the Eric side of the board there. That's going to hurt Cassandra's ratio, but I'm sure that was a calculated decision on her end in the rest that she's getting. So
Well, we just got to turn a couple things around here, and when we return, we will be back for the Shark Attack. Dom versus Jesse Bergman, all that and more when we return on Sharky Waters, The Night Dive. Yeah! All right. We're back with the normal Shark Attack, the one you know and love, how it always is. Little interesting setup with our guest situation tonight. Obviously, with a last-minute cancellation, we were very fortunate to have Jesse come up here and stand in. But the boys are lagging for the break. Jesse takes his time. Little bounce back. We're just about to that third diamond on Dom's lag, and he stops the ball as Jesse got closer. That means that Jesse will break. I'm trying to think what the overall score is between these two guys.
Jesse, do you have 2 matches to Dom's 1 match?
Yeah.
Yes. So a couple hills, and on their past matches, Jesse has 3 of the last 3.
So we got a good rivalry going, is what I'm hearing.
A lot of passion, a lot of fuel.
Big swing, and the 2 ball comes back around and hits the 8 into the side pocket. So got one on the break, and Jesse's looking at the 1 ball now. Well, I'm in the commentary booth with Eric. Unfortunately, Cassandra Bryant couldn't be here with us this week. So Eric and myself, Tor, the producer, we're holding it down. How's it going today, Eric?
I'm doing great. Wednesday's always a good day.
Real winner, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Like I was saying, though, great. Oh, he got it in the corner just left it out of the side pocket for a scratch. It looks like he has a line on this too.
So yeah, you were saying? Little kick, 2 goes in the corner pocket.
Pulls it back nicely for that 3.
Yeah, Lil Kick. That's just give me my new rap name.
Lil Kick, Lil apostrophe
K-I-K.
K-I-K. Ooh, kick. Lil Kick.
Or maybe Kicks, K-I-X, but like as a slang for kicks, like shoes, like I have small shoes.
I was thinking kicks for kids, like a play on tricks for kids. But your music isn't necessarily just for kids. It's for people of all ages.
It is. Wasn't Kicks a cereal? I'm getting a yes from Tom Heavey here.
Kicks
in the
for
audience.
kids.
Kicks, I believe it was like a Chex off brand or something like that.
K-I-X?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up.
Ooh, breaks that 5 out a little bit off the rail, make it an easier shot, and cue ball gets stopped by the 7 to give him a good lead.
Yeah, that was nice.
Doesn't quite get, or gets a little bit too much of that 5 ball, and it stays up out of the corner pocket, leaving Dom a pretty decent line here into the other corner.
We would like you to participate and tell us about your experience. Having this information will help us serve you better and will help you as soon as we possibly can.
Just misses out on the 5 and leaves Jesse a pretty straight-on shot. Tor, we got to get these practice Mondays, or maybe another day, because I don't think Monday has been working out for me as much lately. But
It hasn't for me either. My live stream that I do on Mondays has ended up having a lot of due diligence that I have to go through as a one-man wrecking crew.
yeah, I don't think people, they might not realize how much work goes into hosting a show like you do once a week.
It's a lot more preparation. I mean, it's a lot of preparation that goes into Sharky Waters too, but we also like have enough people and everybody has a role and a thing that they, their kind of task that they take care of, that we're getting to the point where this show is kind of running like a well-oiled machine, bar like Cassandra being sick and staying home today and things like that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been running nicely. It's nice that we've built this thing up so much in the last year. But the show you do, it's just by yourself, only you.
It's just me and a featured artist every week, and I'm bringing bands and producers and vocalists and you name it in to perform like 30 minutes of their original music, and then after that I do like a short DJ set, and artists from all over the world send me their music to have it get played on this show. And so my job has kind of become like whatever the newest music that has been released in the last week was, I'm now like the guy that's showcasing that for people that make hip-hop beats and EDM and all kinds of different like kind of computer-based music, creating a platform for that, because I feel like there isn't one for that music like there is for pop and rock and country radio. Still has a huge place of breaking new music, and rap music does not as much. It does a lot more than EDM, but electronic music definitely does not have too many platforms. We have C89.5 in Seattle, and that's it.
One radio station?
Yeah. For electronic music. So I'm just trying to be an extra platform because I like that music a lot. I create it as well. A lot of my friends produce music that is in that style.
So you feature most of the time local artists, or people travel in?
Mostly locals, Tacoma, Seattle, like Puget Sound area. Nice bank by Jesse there to get the 5 in the side pocket.
Looking good on that 6 as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of Tacoma, Seattle, Everett, Olympia. And then with the occasion of like when I tour and go down to like California, for example, and play like a couple dates, DJ at a couple clubs or whatever the concert may be that I'm performing at, I'll take my my equipment down with me, my cameras and all of that stuff, and then put together an event in a space in a friend's studio, and then I'll be able to like collaborate with a couple artists from down in Central California, Bay Area. And so we've had 2 or 3 people from there, 3 artists from the Bay Area, and then we had 3 different DJs from Hawaii that got featured on the show this season as well, which is really cool.
Wow, yeah, that's spreading around. That's very cool. Yeah, I've seen a lot of your shows, and they're really good stuff. So
Thanks, man.
You start like you feature an artist in the beginning, and then the second half is brand new, basically music, just released type of stuff from people all over the world, and yourself included. You do some of your own stuff.
Totally, yeah. Right now I'm releasing between my own music and the hip hop group with Joe Fish, who was just here earlier taking some photos. Our group is called Grandmasters. Nice down the rail. Dom finishes with the 9 in the quarter, and that was a great out to take home the W on this rack.
Bringing it 1-0, and I just have to say that was an especially good shot for Dom, making that down the rail.
Yeah.
As my water bottle on my little desk here was nicely nestled
Right
up in the bottom seat area.
Yeah, right up on his ass.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right up on that ass. Shark bite.
But yeah, so the show goes, my music show, it's Mondays at 8. It's called Case of the Mondays, and you can check it out at beatsbytor.com. There's a little link to it on my website. Once a month, I'm putting out a song, either one that I wrote myself. My stage name is Torbjorn. My friends call me Tor, but my real actual whole first name is Torbjorn. Super Norwegian name. But I make music and sing and play instruments and all that stuff on my recordings. And then I also am a rapper in a hip-hop duo with Joe Fish. We're called Grandmasters. Remember, some of that music gets played on the playlist on this show as well.
Yeah, you featured some brand new songs. The 5 was one
right.
From a couple weeks ago. And yeah, I just went to your show a couple weekends back. I think it was 3 weekends ago.
Yeah, up at Barboza in Seattle.
Which was a great time. You guys sure know how to get a whole room like moving together. It was very cool to see. You guys
Yeah,
are very
dude,
talented.
It's definitely like a lot that goes into us putting on those energetic performances.
Oh yeah, that could be
A lot of
exhausting.
pressure.
I'd imagine.
We write all the music, we write all the words, we curate all the other artists that are like performing with us, and Joe and I work pretty closely to make sure that every time that we invite some people out and try to get some friends together to do something, that
That's awesome.
that we make it a good time.
Yeah.
Dom,
As you're talking about that, yeah.
got spot jacked by Moscone, the cat.
Yeah, he got sharked. He wouldn't, Sconey wouldn't give up the seat, give up the throne there for Pops. See what Dom's going to do with this one ball here. Ooh, very, very close on that cut. Unfortunately, they rattle around and give Jesse a shot on the one right down the rail into the corner.
One down the rail in the corner pocket for Jesse. Great leap on the 2. So Eric, tell me enough about me. Let's talk about you. You fix
Baby.
clocks. You fix all kinds of stuff.
I'm just kind of a tinkerer and a mechanical type of mind. Ooh, that was a great shot on the 2.
Wow.
He was hoping that cue ball would stop about maybe 5 inches shorter, but I think he's still got a line. He's got to play his leave maybe differently for the 4 now. Yes, I like to take things apart and see how they work, see if I can put them back together. I don't know. Enjoy doing those kind of things. And constructing, building things out of wood is always very satisfying. Wow. Oh,
Ooh.
almost a second shot on,
Wow.
on the 9. He drills that 3 in and hits the 9 right after it. Sends it almost into the side pocket for the game.
Little kiss off the fin there, and that 4 ball does not fall the way that he hoped it would. Sending it back over to Dom. So so you're a tinkerer, you're a builder, you're a handyman.
Goes for the combo, just barely misses it. Leaves bank shot on the 4 here.
But you've also done some like art related projects in the past too,
Uh,
right?
yeah.
Did you once like draw a map?
Oh,
for
are you
someone?
talking about when I was commissioned to draw Dungeons and Dragons maps for
Dude.
for this tournament?
How do you even land a job like that?
Being social. I think I met this guy at the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, having a drink after work.
Nothing but net. 4
Wow.
ball bank in the corner, and he's got a great look at the 5 there.
Sometimes you just meet people and you start talking about creative things and you start realizing you have a similar view. Or I think really what happened was he was like, yeah, I'm doing this thing. I'm hosting this tournament. I got to figure out how I'm going to make these maps. And I was like, I'll do it.
You were like, dude, I make maps.
Yeah, I just said I'll do it very
Masters.
confidently. Although inside knowing I had never done anything like this.
Fake it to make it, dude. That's powerful. That's some real
Great
shark
run
move.
there at the end. Yeah.
9 in the
Another
corner.
good shark move.
Jesse gets it to fall, and that puts the score 1-1. Okay, dude. So you meet a guy who's randomly like a Dungeons and Dragons type, like role player.
He was actually not, I don't think. He was hosting a tournament for a client, like a massive tournament in a room. They were going to use these maps, blow them up on projectors, and put them up on the wall for people to use and see.
But it was like super stubborn Moscone, like won't give Dom his seat back. He's like, this is my seat now.
If anyone saw that, just forget what you saw. Camera was off, yeah. Jesse gets nice and close on his break. He kind of leans forward right before the break and pulls back and has a lot of power behind that. It's nice and compact.
Yeah, and
Spreads those around.
just when it looks like nothing was going to fall there, the 7 just scoots into the side pocket, and once again, he's in action.
So yeah, I basically just met this guy. He said, I need to get these maps made for this tournament. I said, I'll do it. He said, okay.
And so you manifested a reality where you are a map maker. But like, didn't this deal go sideways?
You, my friend, have a great memory. Yes. It definitely got a little iffy at the end with this particular client. And
Ooh, and it looked like that one ball was maybe just going to get the angle, but the cue ball came back and knocked it out of place. So Jesse will give the table back to Dom. So, but I remember like, this was like a fantasy world map that you were making. And there was like some names that were like pretty epic, some Lord of the Rings-esque type names of stuff. And then I remember there was some like really stupid names.
yeah, I wish I could have had creative freedom to name these places because the names that they chose were like
Something like the
land
swamp
of the swamp
wetness.
of wetness. Yeah, really.
This
So
is-
very creative. But I didn't let that stop me from making the best damn map I've ever made.
The only reason that I bring this up, this is a random story from something a long time ago. Doesn't have anything to do with pool or anyone that's in the room. And well, it has to do with you.
Those are my favorite stories.
But, yeah, the random ones, the irreverent ones.
Yeah.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that people out there that need a dedicated handyman who has got creative solutions to problems.
Ooh, he tries to play safe, it looked like on that too, but it got kissed on the cue ball. Knocked in the side pocket, giving Dom ball in hand here. Yeah, someone who has creative solutions, and yeah, I'm your man.
I'm trying to think of like, you have like fixed stuff for me before. You fixed my laptop once.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I learned how to upgrade laptops just by doing my own and then doing yours.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess I just like learning new things. And so any opportunity I can get where I can find a client who like understands, I know how to do this and I could figure out how to do it correctly. You just might see me looking on my phone occasionally for second
Watching
and third
YouTube tutorials.
Yeah. A
101,
few of them, not
how
just
to
one.
change oil.
Yeah.
You work on cars?
No, well, I mean, I've changed my own oil, and but
That's not super hard, though, right?
No, not really. I mean,
will-
it's just not really at all. Actually, it's just tedious.
I've literally never done it.
No?
I've fixed like maybe 2 things on my car, and one of them was like a side view mirror. It was like 3 bolts, and I think even then I like asked my dad to help me.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, that's still something though. You probably had to pull a panel off to get to that. So
Yeah, totally. We broke the panel too. Cracked it.
the little clips. It's hard to take them off. You need like a special tool. You can get them at Harbor Freight.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
I did that before. I took my whole panel off one of my old cars and replaced the radio and added like some storage areas and got creative with that too. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, put like a nitrous oxide system, fuel intake, so you could street race and stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, but it wouldn't be hooked up. It would just be, the whole system would be in there, but it wouldn't actually be hooked up to the engine. It would just be like, I could have this power right now if I wanted to, but
Hooked
I'd
up like
also kill myself.
Like a tiny little blowtorch, and you can like cook your creme brulees with it.
Creme on the fly, now we're talking.
Creme, yeah, there's got to be like a rhyming pun. Jesse opts for a safe. I think Dom can probably just see the corner of that 3 there. It looks like he can.
It's like he can get a full look onto the side pocket.
Nice. Yeah, you've got the better view there than me. And he nails it. 3 is down, folks. And you know what that means.
What does that mean, Tor?
We're on to the 4.
We're on to the 4. That was slightly anticlimactic. Breaks those out, looking for the safe shot to hide it behind the 6. Drifts a little bit far so he can see it, but, he's just got basically a bank to work with.
Gets it pretty close. He ends up going a little wide, and it looks like maybe safe behind that 6.
Yeah, he safed that very well behind the 6. It's directly behind it, basically.
All right, so Eric, imagine that last shot we were looking at. Imagine you want to go in the corner pocket down the rail, the way the 4 was, like an inch off of the rail.
Yeah.
That's like basically 90 degrees, you know what I'm saying? Or damn near 90 degrees. It's like pretty much impossible shot, right?
Yeah, instead of banking, you want to go cut it all the way down into the corner.
At what point, so like 90 degrees is like physically impossible in a pool, right?
Actually, they say it's not physically impossible. I mean, even up to 90 degrees, you can play the cue ball out a little bit. Once you get good enough, you can play the cue ball out a little bit and have some English so that it, like, by the time it gets there, it's traveled out and back in a couple, an inch or two, and take some of that angle off, basically.
Nice connection with the 4 and the jump over the 6, and he sends it like way down the table. Jesse's got eyes on the 4, but it's like a little bit of an awkward placement, and he's like a whole table away from it. So while I don't think that was the offensive move Dom was looking to execute, it ended up not being half bad, really, all considering. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Eric, about like a little masse, give some curvature to it, and you technically have a better chance of a tighter angle that way. That's a pretty high level shot, though, right?
Yeah, that's a very high level shot. Yeah, and also the transfer of English comes into play too, because if you have that much right on it that you're, massing slightly, then it's going to transfer a little bit more left, I think. Maybe not so much with such a thin cut like that. I'd have to ask a real pool pro about that one, but I wonder how much English transfer comes into play with that thin of a cut. It's a good question.
Really
Tor,
nice.
what's the answer?
42.
What's the question?
Don't know.
Opts for safe here. And drifts. I can't quite tell from this exact angle. Can you see from overhead if you've got eyes on that 5?
Doesn't look like he's got a lot. Well, not an easy shot by any means. Hands the table back over to Jesse.
I think a little bit of back and on that cue ball on it just makes that 5 skip out of the corner, leaving Dom pretty straight in shot here. Great little easy follow shot on that 5 to drift it up for the 6. Another good little easy backspin shot. Pull it back with a cut on this 8-ball here. A little too thin and double kiss that 8. But that is a lot of gray, a lot of sea in between that ball and he. It's a stormy sea between that ball and he.
Nice. Nice little follow, gets it to go a little bit to the right, so he's able to like keep out of the pocket.
That was a beautiful, beautiful leave on that 8-ball. After making that 8-ball.
Yeah. Oh, and it looks like he's just a little wide on the 9. Unfortunate moment to hand it back over to Dom.
Dom makes that nice and easy, bringing the match 2-1 in Dom's favor.
Soft.
Yes.
Soft. Dom, I was watching, I was recently in Canada, and I was watching this documentary called Searching for Big Country. Big Country was like the nickname of the star center in the early 2000s that played for the Vancouver Grizzlies basketball team.
Okay.
And I was laughing because Dom also like played big man basketball in his like high school years or whatever. And I know he's like a big fan of all the NBA big men, and Big Country definitely was one of them, you know, a star player in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And so they cut through all these interviews talking about this like 7'3" dude, this like 300-pound basketball player, just like a beast of a man. And it's like all his friends and fans, like and like former coaches and commentators that like called his games and stuff like that, and they just cut through a montage of like 17 clips in a row of people being like, yeah, soft hands, Big Country, soft hands, real soft hands. And
that was his thing. Everyone
totally,
just
he was just a killer shooter for how big he was, and that was like super rare for the big players in that era. So I think about Dom being like our resident tall guy in the group, and
with soft fins, soft hands.
Soft fins.
Yeah.
Sends it down the rail. It goes off just a little bit and doesn't fall in the corner. Unfortunately, kind of. That's
another like that 4 we were talking about earlier when Jesse opted for the bank.
Yeah.
Dom had a little bit more angle, but those were tough shots to go all the way down the table like that. It was such a tight cut. Well done on that one. No problem. Wrap it around to get an angle on this too. He had that safe.
Solid.
He knew he was doing that from before he even stepped up to the table. It looked like he just walked up, parked it. It'd be tough to Dom to get out of this one here.
Narrowly misses the 2 there on the kick, and that'll be ball in hand to Jesse.
Lines it up with a nice angle into that side pocket so he could drift that cue ball down for the 4 shot next.
Great play by Jesse there. Maybe a little longer than he wanted to look at this 5, but he's still right in line with where he needs to be. Yeah.
My mic is on now, and I will talk about that last shot. It was very good.
Yeah, so was the one that followed. Jesse's like got some real comfortable movement happening here.
Yeah, he's finding a good groove.
Wow, it's like nice little run here. Looking at the 9 ball.
With confidence. That was a
Wow.
good, 4 or 5 ball?
Yeah, I think that was
Run
a
there?
5-ball run.
Yeah, bringing the match 2-2. This is going to be back and forth. I think, again, we're going to we always have a great match between these two guys. It's a good fight.
Yeah, it is. It wouldn't surprise me if this goes hill and has some major dramatic and traumatic moment that happens at the end and probably involves some explosions and car crashes and maybe even a little bit of heartbreak. It's like always dramatic between these two. They've got amazing chemistry and an amazing rivalry. Tied game, 2-2.
One, 3. Nice. Good spread. It still has a look on that 2 ball. It's coming up first.
Yeah.
You know, I was also thinking it probably took these guys a little bit to settle in and warm up because what me and you took over the table from before the show through the show. They didn't really get much warm up like.
Yeah, we were
Like we
hogging the
normally
table
do.
before the cameras turned on, and that's usually, well, I mean, not really. Like normally that would be guest time, right? But with Joey feeling sick and not being able to make it here tonight, and us putting together our faithful bench coming into play late in the fourth quarter.
Calling the reliever.
Yeah, totally. I don't know that it, with the cancellation that it would have, you know what I mean. Jesse wasn't here until.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered anyways. Yeah, but that was a great save by Jesse to park that cue ball and 2 ball at opposite ends of the table with the 9 and 5 between it, and it worked in his favor because Dom just barely misses and banks around it. Didn't touch a thing, and so gives
Millimeters.
Jesse ball in hand. Ooh, I like that move with breaking out that 4 and that 7. Gorgeous. You see him walking around the table to see what he wants that next shot to look like exactly. Does that so he knows exactly where he needs to put that cue ball for this now upcoming shot for the leave on the next one. There's a lot of thought that goes into this game. A lot of planning and adapting. It's kind of like chess.
It's like chess with way more resolution than the amount of squares that are on the chessboard.
Oh, yeah, so much so.
A friend of mine from England once explained to me how soccer and chess are very similar.
I could see that. Yeah. When I was younger, I always thought it was like this, just kind of exciting, everyone kick it around, and then you're going for goals kind of thing. But you start really watching football matches, as they say, over on the other side of the pond.
Wow, what a bank! 6 in the side pocket.
That was gorgeous.
This year's football.
Football. Once you start paying attention and watching it, you start noticing how much planning and spreading around, and they have. Yeah, there's just so much going on.
Formations, how defensive versus offensive. Super interesting game.
Yeah, and it can change at any moment too, and it's like it can start just all of a sudden start popping off. Get goals, big scoring games. Those are always fun, but I like the lower scoring chess matches. Great cut on that 9 to drift it into the corner. Taking the next game, just back and forth with these two.
Wouldn't expect anything less. Great players. And You know, I always feel like the when you're playing someone whose game you know and who you play a lot and who you just really want to win a game like this when it's with your good friend.
I have a buddy like that named Daryl, and it's almost more that I hate to lose to him more than than anybody else. It's one of those situations. But yes, I understand wanting to beat that close friend rival that you play with a lot. But there's also a comfort level too. Like sometimes you can settle in and not be on edge as much, or sometimes settle in too much and get too relaxed. And when you're playing against someone that you know well and play with a lot.
One goes in the corner pocket for Jesse and comes back around with a little push on the 9.
Nice easy here, so that drifts forward for the shot on the 3. Didn't want to get caught short or long because of that 9 and 8 ball in the way. Makes easy work of that and comes around 3 rails off for almost dead straight line on that 4 ball. Plays a nice stun shot there. I think he wanted it to drift a little bit further back for leave on the 6, but he can make this work. Just misses out on that 5 ball. Good cut. Comes back between that 6 and that 7. It's gorgeous. Ooh, he wanted that to drift a little bit further to get a better line on that 7. He's ended up very close to it, so it cuts the angle, makes it a much tighter cut the closer you are. Also means you have to put more power on it, but he executed that to perfection. Just the right amount of speed to leave him nice line on that 8 ball. Sit down just a little bit, gives him a good line on that 9 in the side, just as he planned.
And he's out.
That brings, that's 2 in a row. A little shift change there.
Totally.
A little tide change.
4-2. Dom's past that halfway mark.
Could see that look in Dom's eye when he was on that 8 ball. Sometimes you could just see it. You could tell they're in the zone.
Totally. Well, Dom's back up to break here. Gets a couple to go down. That's not a bad break.
Yeah, that was a great spread. What, 2 down?
Looks like the
3.
1, the 7, and
Yeah.
the 5.
Excellent. With a great line on that, too.
I think he just put a little too much power on that 2. Rattles out and goes down the other end of the table. Over by the 6. It looks like it might be a little obstructed by the 9, but I bet Jesse's going to be able to work through that, no problem.
See those two working together, get that magic rack out of the way, so he doesn't have to think about it.
Yeah, they're lucky the ref wasn't looking. I think that's against the rules.
It's also about maybe 2 millimeters to the right of where it originally was when they started.
We're going to have to go look at the instant replay.
Yeah, from my angle, it definitely shifted. So did that. Interesting little. Yeah.
Going the wrong way, man. Come on.
Like, actually got a little bit of a roll there. That was weird.
Oh, great masse around for the combo.
Makes it look so easy, man. That is a tough shot.
Especially tough when your cue ball decides at the last minute to move a quarter of an inch more behind the 9 ball. Makes a great shot on that 2 and 3, and he was hoping that would wrap further around to get a line on the 4 into the top left corner there on your screen, but pool is all about adapting when it doesn't happen the way you want it to, and he makes a good shot on that 4. What do you think about this leave, though?
Not easy. What I'm tripping out about is when 3 balls go down on the break, how short this rack seems like it is over before it began.
Also, he got a good line on that lowest ball on the table on the break. Sometimes that doesn't happen when you make so many balls. It doesn't seem like they all work in your favor. Opts for the bank again like he did last time, with the added benefit of being a safe shot if you miss.
Nice. Yeah, it looks like a little more mustard on that would have maybe given him the Z bank, but Dom goes for the full table bank off the rail, getting it to go in the other corner, and he just narrowly misses the target, sending it back to Jesse. Another case of when more mustard would have made something spicy happen. That 9 ball started to move towards the corner, is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha.
Summer barbecue metaphors.
Yeah, we're all about barbecues here on the beach, in the waters of Sharky that we live.
Gonna ask Eric, Heinz or Dijon?
Oh, Dijon, all day. Anything. Except a gas station hamburger. For some reason, I've had a few of those on like road trips and stuff, or like, and just that yellow, bright yellow mustard is the best.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of sugar and yellow
Yeah.
food dye, I'm assuming. Well, Dom is on a little run here. That's 3 in a row.
Dom has
Gets the
caught
9 to
quite a
fall.
wave.
And so you're saying Dijon is the way. Now, let me ask you, have you ever slow cooked a Christmas ham?
Me personally, or seen it happen and then enjoyed it afterwards?
It's got to be your recipe. It's got to be your slow cooker. Thanksgiving also counts.
That would be a negative. Not a ham. I have never done a ham.
Turkey, though?
Yes.
Okay. Dom's back up to break here, 5-2. Smacks it hard, gets that wing ball in. A little bit of a weird spread. He kind of locks himself between the rail and the 6 ball.
But
Hard to
ham is
say. So here's why I ask.
ham is like the really easy one to cook, though. All you have to do is throw it in the oven and heat it up, right?
Yeah.
It's not as finicky and easy to mess up as a turkey is, I think.
Look, no, it definitely is not. It looked like Dom was just locked up there, and he manages to make a good shot out of it and get that 1 ball to fall. He's got a little bit of a tricky look on the 2.
Yeah,
Kind
you
of
had to
a-
put a lot of speed on that.
Maybe a bank here in the opposite corner. This is looking like a little bit of a repeat of what he shot last game. I don't want to decide what his shot is going to be, but I'm assuming. Ends up going for the reverse and shoots the 2, puts English on it to get the 2 to go back the opposite angle, hits that cluster of balls, and then gets safe behind the 6.
This is going to be...
But Jesse is able to get a look at it. He just rattles it out of the pocket. Can't quite
think-
get it to fall.
I think that 2 ball is that far enough away that that cut is not possible into the corner pocket. Kind of curious what he's going to do here.
Yeah. I mean, there's offensively, I don't know,
We'd
but
like you to participate and tell us about your experience.
yeah, and that's exactly what I expected, for him to just go soft on the 2 and get the cue ball out of there behind that wall of balls. That's a great save by Dom.
If you would like to participate, we will assist you shortly.
He did that on purpose there, gave him ball in hand and tied up that 2 ball so he couldn't make it.
Wow. That's a high level safety.
Yes.
When what you can do to the shape of the object balls, including giving your opponent ball in hand, is more than what you can do with a legal shot. Dom sends it back.
Does the exact same thing Dom did last time.
Yeah, he just puts it. I mean, the 7 ball is clustered up, but no longer in the way. But yeah, what do you do here?
Jesse just walked over and asked if the 2 was on the rail or not. He made a good contact there.
Yeah, a little English helped give some curvature to the trajectory of that ball, and he was able to make contact and hit the legal shot.
Dom opts to cut it, try and cut it down to the corner, and misses it, but that 8 ball gets knocked back into the way of this Jesse shot on the 2 here. I think he's going
Yeah.
to kick it.
Looks like he's trying to figure out which direction to hit it. Like, he definitely can get through those 2 balls, but whether or not that's going to offer him the angle off of the back rail, you just don't know. Oh my goodness, and that's how you do it, folks. That's That's a get out of jail free card, I believe.
Yeah, that's the undertow right there. It'll get you.
Well, that was unsuspected finish there, I have to say, and great shot by Jesse. A, to like see that was there. B, to execute it, or if neither of those are the case, then C, to know how to get lucky sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you just hit shots knowing that something might happen and kind of throwing it into a general direction.
Jazzman, to answer your questions about what are some of the nicest tables Dom has worked on, it's got to be some higher end diamond tables, some 9-footers. I mean, if you're talking about nice in terms of like what the price is, definitely some of those high end 9-foot tables can get into the several of thousands of dollars.
Oh, very much so. Also, some of the older classics that have been around and like the original models of pool tables, those can get expensive. They become very valuable.
Yeah, when you're talking not only like the value of what it was, but what the value becomes now that it is a vintage item.
Exactly.
I think this table that we have here is pretty old as well. It's 63, I'm hearing. So definitely and it depends on who you're talking to, you know what I'm saying? Collectors are going to value that vintage item way more than someone who's just out for looking for the highest grade product. It's a different distinction there.
Yeah, absolutely. As Jesse drills that one into the corner and stop shots to give himself nice look on the 2.
Yeah. There's things about this table that new tables don't have and may never have in terms of how they were built, the materials they were made out of.
An ashtray in the corner.
Totally. Yeah, I like the circumstance and with which the product was created, what was happening in the world of pool in the year that this table came out. You know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of things like that are going to make a collector value this.
I love thinking about things like that. Like, wonder what the memories attached to some of these items back when they used to build things to last.
Totally. Who was this table made for? Who were the past owners? Who's played on it? Like all of these things can like set a value of a nostalgic item. 4-ball in the corner for Jesse, and he goes around and gets a great look on the 6. I equate this like in my world of music that looks like, vintage guitars. What was a musician that played on that guitar, or what was a famous album that came out the year that guitar was made?
Or was it maybe like more who played that guitar? Was it because that's a little bit different than pool tables? I wonder. It could be who played on that pool table too.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah,
start thinking about some of those famous players and what table they might have had in their house or something like that.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that in the clock world too, because I've worked on some clocks from the 1700s, 1800s.
Cool.
That are still basically original parts. That's wild.
Really rad. You ever worked on a sundial?
I've definitely built one out of cardboard when I was younger.
Nice.
Yeah. And that was
the OG Clock Doctor gig, man.
Yeah. I always thought it'd be funny to have a sundial watch. I think that'd be great.
Yeah,
especially
that was
in
like
Seattle.
a running joke on the Flintstones, I think. That they would check the time and their watch would be a sundial.
Yeah, I love it. Can't always take advantage of that in the Seattle area, though. But
totally.
There's a lot of sunshine in Jesse's world right now as he takes 2 in a row, bringing it back 5-4 in Dom's favor. So he's catching up here. A little bit of another tide change, a little shift in the tides.
Yeah, the sundial watch would be classic. Makes me think like Spencer's Gifts, one of those kind of like prank joke, like novelty stores would have something like that.
Was Hot Topic one of those, or was that Hot Topic was like for?
It was always
goth
like
stuff.
the goth stuff, the like
punk-
counterculture
punk
fashion.
Stuff? Yeah. Yeah, the Spencer's Gift has those that goofy stuff in the costume
Great
type.
break.
Nice.
The 1, the 5.
And the 8.
Yeah.
3 balls down.
Stellar.
Makes easy work of that, too. Drifts further than he wanted to, I think, and he takes a different line on this 3 into the side.
Soft hands. I'm gonna coin that. It's gonna be my shark.
That's nice. He was hoping to make contact with that 7 to shift him over for a better angle on the 6, and it happened. Slides that 6 in, no problem. Clean. Comes 2 rails back. To have a decent look on that 7. Good opportunity to take these next 2 here. Who just rattles out that 7 off the fins and gives Dom a shot here on the 7.
Strong play from
Jazzman.
Jesse though.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like a 1920 Brunswick. That's a great example of really old school table that they would love to play on.
Yeah.
I'll tell them about my most expensive table I worked on.
Jazzman heads up from Dom shouting in the corner that when he's back and mic'd up at the end of the show, he'll tell a quick story about the actual most expensive table that he ever worked on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. See,
Same.
nice leave here after making that 7 up. Give him a good shot here on the 9. 4. The 5th game.
6.
6th game.
6
in
for
Dom's
Dom on the
night.
hill. Jesse's been clawing his way back, and regardless of not having the wins in his favor, he's playing some stellar shots and some great safeties, and he's getting out of some great safeties too.
He's playing a really good mental game today.
We're always conscious of who's got the break and run record. Damian Pompernick still holds it here on the show, but Jesse was 2 balls away from matching that record.
Yeah, Jesse's no joke here. Can never count him out of anything. Makes the 2 there at the last second, leaving him tough shot here. Tough look on the 1. Rachel Vogel on here, her and Jazzman are watching together from Denver. She's asking who found the shark sticker. And you know what? It's a little mini shark figure that we hide around the set. And if you can spot it, then you get a free Sharky Waters sticker sent to you in the mail. If you're the first one to spot it here. So to answer your question, Rachel, no one has seen it yet tonight.
Yeah, it's still
Excellent cut on that 1. Did you see that? That was razor thin.
So thin.
Drifts that cue ball up further than he was hoping to, and it dropped in the corner pocket, giving Jesse ball in hand here, with the 3 and the 4 sitting next to each other, and the 5 looking good on the other end of the table.
Gets the 3 to drop. A little bit of draw brings him back for the 4. He's eyeing that 5 for what he's going to need to leave on this next shot. Stuns it. What do you think, Eric?
I think that is perfect. He has a good angle on that 5 to take it off the rail and have good line on the 6 and 7 to come next. I think I might have talked up the game a little bit and sharked Jesse there. I'm not sure, but I don't think he's very sharkable. He gets in the focus, but just narrowly misses that 5.
No, it's usually only like the jokes that really shark him.
This is the 5 there, and I thought it was going to be pretty safe, but it looks like he's got a line that can cut that 5. I was mistaken. I don't think he had the line, but he was playing a good safe there with a lot of top right.
Yeah,
Pops that 5 out.
Little softer on that stroke, and Don would have been in a lot of trouble here, but I think he's got eyes on the 5, and looks like he's got a few options here. Dom opting to remove the extension on his cue. Given that little corner next to the painting that he's shooting in, it's easier for him to just have a little bit of extra breathing room there.
Oh yeah, that shortening of the cue made him a lot more comfortable over that shot, and he drills it beautifully into that side pocket. That angle sometimes it's really small room for error there when you have a lot of speed, and drifts it all the way back up to get a good line on the 6 ball here.
Dribbles it out there, maybe a little hard, maybe a little awkward on the angle. Fortunately for Dom, the 6 is right up on the rails, so this is like no easy pickings here for Jesse. He's looking at a kick or something fancy maybe that I don't even see, but he definitely
I think he'll probably opt to safe shot here. Just make sure that cue ball and 6 ball don't have a good shot next for Dom. Yeah, he's looking at that 8 ball on the other end of the table, saying his dream world would be to park the cue ball right behind that.
Well, we're fixing to make dreams come true here at Sharky Waters, so I think we're going to see something real close to that here.
Oh, that's a great line. It's going to clip the 8, and it does. It stops within a half an inch of hiding behind that 8. That was gorgeous. I love to, man.
Ability to manifest a great play is what we just saw there. Jesse visualizing what he wanted, looking at all the angles, taking the time to like really respect the opportunity.
That was a Babe Ruth home run call right there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Calls what his intention before he. I think we're one diary entry about this shot short of it being a perfect manifestation.
Tom's looking at a couple options here. See what he's going to choose. Looks like he's going to put some masse on it here.
Makes good contact with the 6, but unfortunately he comes in contact with that 8 just beforehand. So that's ball in hand to Jesse.
And we've had a lot of shots, and that 7 ball hasn't moved, but it looks like it's about to now. Nice to put a little top right there and drift it down the table to get a better angle on that 8 ball. Hoping that would sit a little bit quicker for him. We still got a look here. 9 ball into the corner pocket for game 5.
Gets it to go. 6-5. Jesse's up to break. On the ropes here, it's like a do or die moment for Jesse. He's either going to bring this up to a hill match or going to go home with his
fin between his tails.
We'll have to grease
Work
that.
on that.
Yeah. Workshop that a little more. But yeah, 6-5 and Jesse up to break. Getting down to it here.
Lots of power. Everything's moving around, but nothing found a hole. Wide open break with, looks like Tom just has a couple combo shots. No clean shots on the one, except for maybe a bank or something. So we'll see what he opts to do here. Very close. He is trying to throw that one over there and thinking that 8 ball is tight enough in that pocket. Maybe it'll drop down for him. Give him another shot at the table. It leaves Jesse with something pretty similar.
Makes contact, balls move around, nothing falls. Dom up to the table now. 1 in the side pocket. Now we're looking at the 2.
Did we ever finish our map conversation? As Dom drops that 2 into the side pocket there.
You're talking about the role-playing game map that you made. I mean, yeah. Turned out that the guys were like not that creative, and your masterpiece like widely went underappreciated.
Yeah, I know. Like, not nearly enough people have seen what I put many, many, many hours of work into. I was thinking about it. I need to get that online. I think they have those places where people can just like purchase or I can give away a digital copy of that and they can use it printed out.
I would think Reddit would be a great place to drop that. There's got to be a subreddit for like done like role-playing campaigns and stuff like that. There's a subreddit for everything, man. There's a subreddit for vacuum cleaners.
Why is that weird?
Well, no, I was just using that to. It's not weird. I was just using it to illustrate like
How just small a topic can be, and
people want to know.
Reddit. I've really not spent much time on there.
Oh, dude, you would love it. Especially in terms of like all the handiwork stuff that you do. There's probably subreddits for like so many different kinds of DIY projects.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Pinterest would be another really good one for the type of stuff that you do.
Didn't quite make it, but he left him pretty safe. That's a very tight cut. That's like almost one of those 90s that we were talking about earlier, almost.
Yeah. It's one of those thin back cuts that Brian Trudeau was expressing that he struggled with. And I don't think it's just him. I think everyone has some difficulty with those shots. They're definitely not easy. But Jesse's the kind of skilled player that knows what to do here. Narrowly misses the cut. Kind of tees up Dom for a long one down the table.
He's trying to figure out what kind of leave he's got to do with this cue ball in order to get a good shot on the 8-ball next. Could hear him whisper, "Oh no," right after he hit that shot. He immediately knew that wasn't quite exactly where he wanted it to go, which would be in the pocket.
Just reminded me of this scene that I was watching, like an NBA playoff game, and you could see reading the player's lips that he was saying, "That's bullshit," to some call the referee was making. And of course, it's like they try to keep it a family show. And so the commentators are like, you can just read his lips that he's shouting, "That's baloney." And he was like blatantly cursing on the show. "Fuck this, that's bullshit." And they had to try to clean it up for him. Well, Jesse sends it down the table and doesn't get the result he's looking for.
Except for the fact that he leaves Dom with a tough shot on that 7 that he almost cut bank back, cross bank. I don't know what they call those. Back bank, cut back. Under the wave banks.
I believe they call
Back
it the
to
boogie
basics.
board.
Back to bank 6.
Nice.
Thanks.
Azalea Banks.
Tough part after that, was the leave, which he got, but the 7 doesn't quite drop. It's hanging in the corner there.
Tough. Super soft by Dom. 7 goes down, looking at the 8 now. 2 balls left on the table.
That's exactly what he wanted, a little bit of angle on the 8 so that he could bring it back up for the 9. He's hoping to have it go a few inches further and come off of that rail. It looks like it's parked right against the rail. Cue ball, no?
That's tough. It was a crucial moment there.
Yeah, that was the match shot right there, but just misses, and lets Jesse get back hill to hill here.
Yeah, this is what we expect with these two players.
That's true.
Both guys playing
Almost every
strong.
time. Yeah.
Both guys know how to exhaust each other's game. Both players knowing how to get on the hill against this guy. And that's exactly what we've got here.
Yeah, that's true. I think they play such smart pool against each other. It seems like they know when to go for it and when to, bite the bullet, as they say, and play a safe shot.
Absolutely. And this is it for all the marbles.
Seven ball and 3 ball drop on the break. That was a hard break.
It was a hard break.
I'm sure you folks could hear that at home. That was
Like the crack of a whip.
Yeah.
Of a whip.
It's pronounced whip. Cool whip.
Hard H. Whip. I always thought that was funny as a kid. I'm like, I get that you would pronounce the H, but why would you not spell that word HWIP the way that people pronounce it? Whip. No one says.
You just blew my mind, Tor. Whip.
No.
Nobody. Doesn't make that one, but he parks it behind the 5. Gets lucky with a safe shot to Dom here. Silent letters in the English language or any language are kind of silly. I don't understand them. I don't know why. I mean, I understand why they're there, but we need to drop those, I think. If you don't say them, don't write them.
GH.
GH, but that makes a sound. I'm thinking like
through.
Pterodactyl. Knife.
Okay, yeah, totally.
Like totally silent. Although, I don't think I could start spelling knife, N-I-F-E. I just couldn't do it. I'm too like my grammar too much. But yeah,
pterodactyl. I mean, it makes you wonder if they used to say it that way. Like we were talking about before the cameras turned on, like the different types of British accent. How some British accents they overpronounce every letter, and then other British accents they don't pronounce it at all.
Yeah. So how would you put the P on the front of that pterodactyl there?
With a British accent?
Any way that actually sounds like it would go together.
Pterodactyl. It would
pterodactyl.
Dactyl. Pterodactyl.
What about tsunami or tsunami? Tsunami.
But I think that
subtle but effective.
And another word, subtle, subtle.
Wednesday? Come on now, folks. Great shot on the 3 ball there.
Yeah, Wednesday is a
ball.
weird one as well.
On the 1 there.
Aluminum.
But he doesn't quite have the shot he was hoping for on the 2. But
Aluminum.
Aluminium.
Yeah. They really say it like that in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
And in some parts of Canada. Hey?
No problem on that 2, though. And still has a good look on the 4. It's all the way at the other end of the table. And then the 5, his next shot, is all the way back again on this end of the table. So a little back and forth here. That was a nice shot there on the 4. Drifts it back off the rail with a little bit of left English and pulled that back for the 5. And this one's for Rachel. I think it would be pronounced wheat thins.
Wahit thins.
Wahit tahins. No, actually, I'm getting too much with that.
Yeah,
None of
but
those are silent.
TH is an actual
Yeah,
sound.
yeah, not silent.
But through is one that you very quickly dismissed. And I have to say that you
I didn't hear you say that one.
Maybe I'm imagining that. You don't pronounce the GH. THROU would be fine, but it's THROUGH. Throg.
Thorough. Add another O.
Yeah, that's
You.
another one.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you're out there, we're going to be sending a link to a petition where you can sign to remove all silent letters from all words and all letters in foreign words that we don't understand.
So all letters outside of our language.
Yeah, Russian,
All of it.
gone.
All however many letters they have in their alphabet. Which,
Totally.
How many? I wonder. That'd be a great trivia question.
17. And oh my goodness. Oh, I thought we were going to see that 9 ball. Looked like it was over. Yeah, so definitely that. French, not a chance. Norwegian, you're okay, because that's where my family comes from. So I'm obviously
Your people's.
creating the rules now.
Yeah.
China, they make all of the Apple products. They make all the iPhones. So they get a pass.
They get a pass just for that, huh? I thought you were considering the Switch for certain.
Nintendo Switch. I do have one of those.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I played Legend of Zelda.
Tried to knock that 6 first and then kick the cue ball off of there and maybe drift that 9 into the corner pocket. But doesn't really leave Jesse much of a look on this 6. That 9 is dangerously close to the corner, though. If he gets
Yeah.
moving around, you never know what could happen. Goes for a bank. Oh, just barely misses it. Leaving Dom a long look down the table here.
That's so close. Like you wonder if him walking by the corner is going to make it fall down.
Dom, maybe.
Yeah, Jesse's.
I don't think Jesse, although Jesse is the only person who has moved a cue ball on this table without touching it. It's impressive.
True.
Excellent shot there with a perfect leave straight in on the 8 ball. Yes, Rachel, we are having a great night as well. We're glad you guys are, and you're enjoying your wheat thins and maybe your wheat beers in Denver with Jasman.
Absolutely.
That would be Jazzman.
Stunning finish, man. Like Jesse was just punching and kicking his way back in there. And Dom, in the end, was able to take home the W. So congrats to Dom for that. Well, that brings us to our Clean Slate Pool Tables sponsored break pot. Jesse is going to drop his cash in the treasure chest that formerly was inside another treasure chest, but Handyman Eric has taken the other treasure chest home to refinish it.
Oh, man.
And for 2 weeks now has failed to do so. So we're going to exercise patience with him while he takes care of that. Dom and Jesse back there hugging it out after a well-fought game. Jesse's going to shake it off a little bit and get an opportunity to win all of the money in the break pot. I think we're up to $280 now. Mm-hmm. Minus potential borrowed sum for...
money.
Okay. Ignore that last part. We're not embezzling anything. And so the rules are, it's 1 rack of 9 ball. Eric's going to rack them up nice and loose, and Jesse can look at them, but he can't complain about the rack one bit. He's going to take a big swing at it, and he's going to see if he can't get that 9 ball to go down. Combos, caroms, or legal shots all the way out the rack are what we're looking for. If that 9 ball goes down, you're going home with the cash. So to Jesse, good luck. Play well. Don't get sharked. And unfortunately, that's all she wrote. Back to you, Dom.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. Anybody who's in the comments and the threads, thanks for sharing. Thanks for all the engagements. Thanks for the shares, the likes, and the subscribe button. As they say to the little kids, go ahead and touch that button on YouTube and turn it gray. Shout outs to the sponsors. Harold Prine from Prine Custom Cues, Tipsy Tomato, our local dive bar, Clean Slate Pool Tables, 253-737-7807. That's my number, how you get a hold of me if you got pool table questions. If you want to learn more about that, we will get to fixing the imperfections on this table one day. One of these days, what we're actually waiting on is responses from the people on what color felt you want to see. So make sure you hop onto the Clean Slate Pool Clean Slate Pool Table Facebook page or the Sharky Waters pool, Facebook page. Give us your opinion. Let us know what you think about that stuff. Big shout out to Jesse. Took me 4 episodes and 1 season finale to finally beat that guy, but the pleasure is always the same, no win or lose, man. Thank you so much for coming in last second. Jazzman, the story behind the most expensive pool table that I've ever worked on. You have to go to Amazon and rent the movie The Descendants. It's a George Clooney flick about George Clooney is the heir to an estate in Hawaii that is like going up for bid to either be developed for the large resort or to be preserved for the Hawaiian land preservation. There's a scene where he invites all of his friends over, friends and family over, that they're all debating on which way to go in this decision. And he, before he gets everybody there, it's one of the end scenes, he's by himself looking at the pictures in a room. On the walls of it are, the story is indicative in the storyline that there was a white rich banker who married a Hawaiian princess. And back in my building pool table days in Hawaii on Oahu on the northeast side, there's an estate there that is owned by a family that's very genuine to their story. There's a white, rich, wealthy banker 150 years ago married a Hawaiian princess, and through the echelons of their acquired wealth, they've held on to that property up there on the north end for all this time. They've got a Brunswick Monarch that was put together in, I want to say it was 1892, and it's never left that room. They actually wound up covering that entire table, and it was in a small little house right on the beach. And through the time and the history of that table, they refurbished that whole building around that pool table specifically, and wound up making it like a beach library restroom house in addition to the actual house that is like the now giant mansion on that estate. But you have to check it out. That table is, like I said, it's a Brunswick Monarch, and it was appraised at $100,000. That was back at the time that we were putting our hands on it and working on it. We wound up fixing it up shortly after the movie because it was played on, and they kept it in such pristine condition that one afternoon's worth of playing on it was enough to have the refelt redone. So check out that movie, George Clooney's Descendants. You'll see a pool table that I put my hands on myself and got to do the refelt on myself once upon a time, but there's sky's the limit on tables that are out there.
Story that comes with homework?
Yeah, totally. So, and everybody, perfect performance makes perfect permanence. Finally got this guy on the record on the loser side, so enjoy peace. Jesse, thanks again, man. It's awesome having you come in.